There is a massive patch coming to Battlefield 5 on December the 4th. It's going to include new content as part of the Tides of War Chapter 1 called Overture, lots of fixes to bugs that are affecting the game at the moment, changes to game modes, and balancing to improve the overall game experience. Now, in this video today, I've got a lot to get through. I'm amalgamating lots of different sources of information, and instead of making 3 different videos on 3 different subjects, I'm just lumping it all together for your convenience. So, it will be quite a long video, but hopefully, once you've watched it, you'll be as fully informed as possible about what is coming in this December 4th patch, and what it's going to do for Battlefield 5. I have to say, at the moment, the communication coming out of the DICE studio is really good. Lots of developers are being active on social media and answering questions. There's lots of replies going out on Reddit, just lots of questions and queries being answered, and lots of information as well about what's coming up in this patch. And this makes a drastic change from Battlefield 1 in the early stages. It took a long time for DICE to get round to some of those fixes, some of those updates, because of the premium system they used and the way the updates were structured. With a live service, DICE doesn't have those restrictions, and we're going to be seeing updates much more frequently. So then, let's get into some of this information. First of all, I just want to talk through the confirmed content that's coming in this December 4th patch, so that everyone knows exactly at the moment what is official and what you will be able to play on December the 4th. We have a brand new war story called The Last Tiger coming in this update. It will drop on December the 4th, and it follows a German tank crew in the later stages of World War II, where they start to question how their actions led them up to this moment. This is the single player segment that I have been looking forward to the most when I heard the lineup for this game, and I'll be playing it the moment the update is applied, so I can find out what kind of story DICE has put together for the German side of World War II. Secondly, we have the Panzer Storm Map. This is Battlefield 5's first multiplayer map coming from the Tides of War, and it depicts the German Blitzkrieg pushing across mainland Europe, specifically Belgium this time, in early 1940. Now, this will be a vehicle-focused map, more so ground vehicle combat, but there is plenty of room for infantry gameplay as well, and there will be aerial combat available. Overall, I think it's going to be a divisive map. I have played it already. It is a large, open field, not a lot of cover for infantry, but if you are a tank player and you like vehicles, I think you're going to like it. But this is DICE depicting the vehicle-heavy combat witnessed at the start of World War II. We're also going to be seeing the practice range drop for Battlefield 5 as well, again on December the 4th. This is DICE's response to players who ask for a place to test things out and get to grips with some of the new equipment that you unlock when you're playing the game. There's going to be sections for target practice as infantry, vehicle practice as well, and it's been hinted that this will be sort of a multiplayer co-op segment of the game. It seems you're going to be able to jump in with friends and mess around if you want to. Sounds quite cool, actually. We know of one weapon so far that will definitely be coming with this first Tides of War chapter, the Vickers K machine gun. Now, this is an MMG sitting in the same category as the MG34 and the MG42, but it kind of strikes a middle ground between those two weapons. There's also been hints at the Commando carbine making it into the game as well, but that's not been confirmed for this December the 4th patch just yet. And vehicle cosmetic customization will be added with this patch as well. Planes and tanks are going to join infantry weapons with different paints and camos that can be applied to your vehicles to give you some visual flair during multiplayer matches. This was one of the features that was pushed back when Battlefield 5's launch was delayed. So that's all the official confirmed stuff that's part of the roadmap out of the way, and now we can move on to some other things that I've pulled together from everywhere else across social media and Reddit, and compile a list of other things that you can expect in this December the 4th patch. Now, first of all, Frontlines as a game mode is going to be changing, and in my opinion, it's going to be returned to a better state than what it currently is right now. Nicholas Astrand, who is a senior designer on game modes at DICE Stockholm, confirmed that Frontlines is being changed back to its Battlefield 1 version after feedback from the community. Currently in Battlefield 5, once a team captures that last flag, the game enters a bomb destroy phase where attackers need to pick up a bomb, move to the bomb site, plant the bomb, and destroy the objectives. That's changing, and we are returning to the Battlefield 1 system of using MCOM stations, similar to those found in the Rush game mode. Now, DICE said they wanted to be consistent with their design between different game modes when it came to destroying objectives. Of course, the end of Frontlines is quite similar to Airborne, but they heard feedback that the Battlefield 1 system was more liked by players, and they will return the mode back to its original state. That, for me, is a really good change. I think Frontlines lost a little bit of its quality moving from Battlefield 1 to Battlefield 5, but now the fact that we're seeing it go back to the Battlefield 1 system, I'm really happy about that. I think that's a good change. Now, speaking of bombs and bomb sites, DICE is just making some general changes here as well. As you might be aware, during the Airborne game mode, if one of the attackers picks up one of the bombs, that bomb icon becomes permanently visible on the minimap and 3D spotted as well. That makes the player a huge target for the enemy team, and it just highlights to the defenders where a large group of attackers is likely going to be. Now, considering all the work that DICE did to remove 3D spotting from Battlefield 5, or large elements of 3D spotting, this always seemed like quite a big oversight to me. But happily, DICE again has heard player feedback, and in the December 4th patch, the icon above the bomb carriers in Airborne and Frontlines will no longer be visible. But of course, Frontlines will no longer have those bombs anyway, so it doesn't really affect Frontlines at all. The icon will still be visible for a brief moment when the player first picks the bomb up. The in-game announcer says that the enemies have picked up a bomb, but after that, it will disappear, and then it's up to the defending team to spot the bomb carrier themselves, which for me is a much more tactical way of doing things. Another nice quality of life fix coming in the December 4th update will be the removal of the automatic spawn when a round starts in all game modes except Final Stand. DICE heard feedback that players didn't like being spawned in automatically, as sometimes that would leave them with a loadout they weren't 100% happy with. Maybe they were interrupted changing that loadout, and sometimes players might be AFK between rounds as well, and they just simply aren't ready to spawn in. I'm personally really happy that this is changing. Having already clocked nearly 40 hours in the game, it's gotten rather annoying always being forced to spawn in when sometimes I'm just not ready to do so. And again, this is based on player feedback, and it's nice to see DICE making a change purely on that. Next up, the top gunner positions on tanks. Yes, I know that you die very, very quickly if you choose to take up one of those. At the moment, it's an extremely dangerous seat to take up, because a recon player could be looking at you waiting to snipe your head off. Maybe an MMG player is there bipoded, waiting to take you down. You're going to die more often than not. Well, DICE has heard these complaints, and they're fixing the situation by adding a ducking feature to the seat, allowing the player to conceal themselves in scenarios where there's just no one around and they want to take cover. Now, this should result in far less deaths from that seat and allow a player to tactically conceal themselves if a tank is moving around an objective, and like I said, there's not much going on. They can keep themselves alive by ducking down into the tank. David Serlin confirmed this feature will make it into the December 4th patch on Reddit. This next change is not overly specific, but it is confirmation that something annoying is going to change in Battlefield 5. Bombers are being adjusted in the next patch. DICE has heard loud and clear that the power of the bombers in this game at the moment, especially when a pilot has fully specialised their bomber for maximum firepower, is just insane against infantry. Sure, that's the point of bombers, to ensure maximum destruction, but the needle was swung so far one way, it's unreal. Pilots are often regularly topping the scoreboard with insane kill-to-death ratios, and they're just leaving infantry frustrated on the ground, being killed time and time again. So, Dan Mitri confirmed on Reddit that this is an area that will be adjusted in the December 4th patch. You may have also heard recently about a catch-up mechanic implemented into the Conquest game mode. This is where the losing team towards the end of matches can capture flags faster and I think spawn vehicles faster. It's been behaving in a way that DICE didn't anticipate, where it kicks in during close rounds and it ends up flipping the result unfairly in favour of the team that was losing only by a small amount of tickets, so it's easier for them to get the win because they get a reduced cap rate on the flags. That's going to be tweaked soon, and it's going to be scaled back somewhat. The effect will only be applied to matches with larger ticket differences in the closing stages, and that's to bring some excitement back into matches that otherwise would have been a full-blown steamroll. It won't be active in matches that are already close, matches that already have that closing tension and absolute chaos as both teams try and win by just a few tickets. It's something that DICE just didn't balance correctly. Perhaps their internal playtests were very different to the public matches that have been happening, and we noticed this comeback mechanic was a bit too severe, but it's nice to know that DICE is going to be scaling it back and changing things to make things more fair. Another point is weapon balance. At the moment, there are some clear issues, mainly the K7 being ridiculously accurate and powerful at long range, and the medic SMGs still being somewhat underpowered within their effective range, which is close range. Now, Drunksy took over the Battlefield French account a couple of days ago and stated that the medic SMGs will see some changes in the upcoming patch, but he didn't go into detail on the subject. The K7 was also mentioned as potentially being rebalanced and brought into line with other weapons in the class, but I'll say there's still a few more weapons out there that I think need a little bit of tweaking. The M1A1 carbine is extremely effective at nearly all ranges, as its fire rate allows you to just spam people at close range, and its lack of severe recoil at longer ranges allows players to drop other people very, very quickly, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some other weapons rebalanced as well. And lastly, a tweet reply from Eric Ortman, who is the lead engagement designer at DICE, has confirmed that people have been reaching rank 50 for their career much faster than they anticipated. This is likely going to get rebalanced in the December patch, and the Tides of War chapter rank will be introduced on December the 4th as well, meaning there will be more ranks to progress for those players who've already topped out the progression tree for their career. So likely we're going to see an increase in the career rank as well. Nice to know that DICE noticed that and things are going to change. And very briefly as well, DICE are adding an apply all button to the weapon camos menu. So you don't have to go into each part and apply each part of the camo. You can just go down to the bottom, click apply all on that skin or that part, and then it will apply every part that you have to the weapon. Even if you don't have all parts, it will just apply all parts that you have to the weapon. So you don't have to do 20 clicks anymore, you just have to do like 2 or 3 to get to the weapon skin that you want, which is a really good change in my opinion. Now, outside of this list of changes, there will likely be lots more fixes, updates, scalebacks, buffs, nerfs, you name it. DICE is making this December the 4th patch a very, very big one. Lots of new content coming for us to play with and experience, but I'm most looking forward to just seeing the Tides of War starting, putting into action DICE's plan to support Battlefield 5. That for me will be a very telling moment, because we'll see if they are on the right track or if we're in for a rough ride. Only time is going to tell here. Thank you very much for watching today. Let me know what you think of this information down below in the comments section, and I'll be back tomorrow with a video breaking down a data mine that's revealed plenty of new weapons in the works for Battlefield 5. But until then, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.